If you're more comfortable standing, feel free to stay standing. If you want to return to your seats, either way. But let's hear from you. What ideas do we have to share on this? We're all in this situation this season. How are we going to make the best of it? Yeah, Coach.
Well, last year I was coaching my sons. They're twins, 5 years old, and that's, it's dad out there to them because they're not understanding the concept, the concept of a coach and everything. One of the things I did with a guy who was coaching with me is we just kind of switched a little bit where he was coaching my kids and I was coaching his kids. That's what
I've been doing it. My son's 12, and I've been coaching him since he was 5. So I've been coaching him in baseball for 8 years now, basketball for a few years. I'm the manager of the team, and I have a rule: coaches can't coach their own kids. Because your expectations of your own kid is always higher than anyone else. So you're always going to be harder on them.
Right.
And exactly what you said, you're just dad.
Yeah.
You don't know. Last year I had a coach that very knowledgeable about baseball. And his son had this one thing that he would always work on. So in the middle of the game, he would do something, and the coach would just look at me, and I'm like, I got it, Scott. I'm like, here, come here. I'm like, oh, okay, coach.
Yeah.
But if he was to say the same thing, he'd just blow him off.
Yeah.
Because he's just dad.
Okay.
It works.
All right, nice. What else?
Don't coach him at home.
Don't coach him at home.
Just be a dad.
Or in the car. Okay, so wait a minute. The car ride home isn't part of practice? No, it's not, Coach and Dad. Practice ended on the field. The ride home is not a time for you to get a few more pearls of wisdom in, Now,
what if he wants to talk to you?
Now that's different. I like that question. Now, what if he wants to talk about it? Then you're gonna, you know who Archie Manning is? You know who Archie Manning is?
I don't know.
But you know who he is. Did he have good athlete sons?
Yeah.
Here's what Archie Manning's like you, Matt. He says, when Peyton Manning started showing an interest in football and started showing interest in being a quarterback, Archie Manning went to his son Peyton and said, Peyton, I was a professional football player, quarterback. And he goes, yeah, Dad, I know that. He goes, well, I will show you and teach you all you want to know about being a quarterback, but you have to ask first. So that was his way of saying, it's going to be on your terms. When you want input from Dad, I'm here for you. But I'm not going to force anything on you. Okay? And I think that has to do with your partnering up with your other coaches too. So,
okay. Let me just ask you a question.
Yeah.
When you said that about not coaching them at home, you're always playing with them at home, right? You're playing catch with them,
Sure.
or you're pitching to them, or you're doing else. Are you drawing a line then when how do you?
It's a good question.
I'm just playing catch. It's for years to be like, hey, let's go play catch. Okay, let's play catch. As we're playing catch, I usually take that opportunity to be, hey, how's life? How's school? Okay. I'm not saying, hey, you got to hold the ball like this, or you got to step like this. No, it's
just catch.
It's just catch.
Okay.
How many of you think your kids love baseball as much or more than you do? Think about that. You do?
Yeah.
You're in the minority. Most of us that get into coaching love it a lot more than our kids. And maybe we could do it 24/7. Okay? But this isn't about us. Yeah. Little League Baseball is, we're here to facilitate an experience for our kids, all the kids. So, I said earlier, I don't like absolutes. Is there a time when you can coach your son or daughter at home? I think there might be. So for example, if they ask for it, like Peyton Manning, they say, hey, Dad, I'm ready to learn, tell me, Or sometimes, let's say you are playing catch with your son, and you're throwing him pop-ups, and he's struggling. And you sense maybe some frustration. You might ask. Okay, my son's name is Jesse. Hey, Jesse, you want some coaching here? And if he says no, you honor it, and you keep throwing him the pop-ups, and you smile every time he drops it, But if he says yes, I think that's different, okay?
Good.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on this? Coaching your own kid? We've been focusing a lot on, the comments have been about the experience for our own child. How about for the whole team? What makes it a great experience for the whole team? Or what are the traps that we could fall into that might take away from the...
Your kid's always a starter no matter how good or bad he is.
How many of your kids are pitchers? Show of hands, let's be honest. How many of you... If you survey Little League fields, and if you survey how many of the pitchers are the sons of their coach, it's a high percentage. And a high percentage, if they're not pitching, they're probably catching or playing shortstop. Okay, so now, your kid might be the best pitcher on the team, and if that's the case, he should pitch. I would get at least one unbiased opinion, though, if I was going to put my kid in a premier position. And maybe you're at an age where they rotate and get to play all the positions anyway, and that's not as big a problem. But yeah, to at least give that a little bit of thought, Okay, yeah. Coaches' kids don't always bat in the first two positions in the bat. Stuff like, okay. Any other thoughts? Should we take a look at what PCA has to say here? Good answer, sure. All right, so the first one. PCA thinks that at some point, it's a good idea to actually ask your child if they want you to coach the team. It's too late this year, I think, right? You're already committed to coaching, okay? So you can't do it this year. You're committed. You're in. But how about at the start of next year? Hey, Billy, I coached the team last year. I'm thinking about coaching again this year. What do you think, Billy? What's Billy going to say? Most of the time he's going to go, yeah, Dad. But what if he doesn't? I think that's good for you to know. And maybe you explore it further. Hey, Matt, it sounds like you're not so sure you want me to coach. Tell me, are you willing to tell me why? And does it mean that you don't coach the team? Not necessarily. But I think if your coach, if your son or daughter doesn't want you coaching them for some reason, as a parent, I think you want to know that, be aware of it. Okay? And like I said, I think 9 times out of 10, maybe even 99 out of 100, the answer is going to be yes. Penalizing your own child. As parents, we tend to be harder on our own kid. I've even had some coaches tell me with pride, I'm tougher on my son than any player on the team. Is that fair?
No.
No, that's not fair. Okay? If being tough on this player is good for him, as the coach, don't you owe the same standards to all the ball players? At PCA, we think you do. And so, I think coaches can err on both sides. Our kid gets to bat first and pitch every game, or we're harder and we critique harder and we demand more of our own son or daughter than the other players. How do you know that you're not favoring or penalizing? How do you know you're being fair?
Good ask of the parents.
That's what getting objective feedback. Someone that you think is objective and you trust, whether it's a fellow coach, whether it's a parent that you respect, yeah, check with them every once in a while. How am I doing on this?
I always check with my spouse.
Okay.
Because she's really sensitive to that. You know what I mean? So she's always monitoring my...
So David, your spouse is sensitive and keeping an eye on it. The one thing she is not is neutral.
Correct.
Because she's got a horse in the game. So
Correct.
I support your going to her, and I would encourage you to supplement that if you're not already doing it with someone who's not mom or dad or grandma or grandpa. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're on the same
I
page.
think she does the thing. She'll penalize me. You know what I mean?
I was married,
harder on
David.
me
I know
than
what
she
you
would
mean.
on somebody else.
Okay, let's see. Okay, the next one, fellow coach, teach, coach your child, and vice versa. That's what you guys were talking about. Pairing up on that as to who's the primary feedback giver. What do you think don't share coach information means?
Don't talk about what the coaches talk about the other players.
Or other players.
The other players. you know, gosh, Joey's really in a slump. I'm going to move him down in the batting order. No, if it's not information that you, if it's not if it's not a team conversation that you would have with all the other players, probably shouldn't have it with your own son. And it puts them in a difficult situation sometimes when you say stuff to them that they probably shouldn't have access to. And avoid sports overload is what you're getting at, not coaching it. You know, baseball practice is over, we get home, dinner's not ready for 15 minutes. Let's go, Tanner, 15 more pitches. Okay? If Tanner comes to you and says, hey, Dad, we got 15 minutes left before dinner, can you pitch me a few more balls? That's one thing. But for you to be imposing that on, that's what we mean by avoiding sports overload. Anybody know what we mean by two hats? Yeah, you said the twins, they have a hard time. You know, your dad. One thing that can help them is that you wear that hat when you're dad, and you wear this hat when you're coach. It doesn't mean you're not their dad. I mean, when they're playing, you're still their dad. But it helps them recognize, even a 5-year-old, a 7-year-old, recognize that you're shifting roles and that now you have responsibilities to the whole group. Okay? You can read more about that one on two hats. And then this last message, any of you have kids that are no longer playing sports, who used to play sports but no longer play? You're all too young. Okay, well, I can speak from experience. Someday it ends. Someday it ends, and it goes by really fast. It's a special time. You know, soak it in. Don't sweat the small stuff. Because it can be a time to be treasured for a lifetime. It can be. So, I told Damon we would end an hour and a half after we started, so that gives me 3 minutes.